Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my webinar on how to meal plan your way to an organized life. Just going to give you a quick second to get settled. I'm going to make sure I have everything good to go here. We're going to dive right into the content because I know you're a busy person. That's probably why you're taking this webinar, is you want to find a way to organize your life in terms of the kitchen. And so that's exactly what I'm going to help you do today. So let's just dive right in. So first of all, I just want to do a quick intro into who I am. My name's Steph. I run a blog. It's called mealplanaddict.com. I have this Instagram famous meal prep fridge. I'm an avid meal prepper, meal planner, but it wasn't always that way. So I literally used to burn water. I was frazzled in the evenings. I was busy. I spent a lot of money eating out, and I used to waste a lot of food at the end of the week because the person I was when I bought all my food quickly was not the person I was during the week. And so I had a lot of food waste and it was really horrible. But now I have this beautiful Instagram famous fridge that I post every Sunday. I take a lot of photos of food. I'm a professional food blogger. I do this full time. And what I want to do today is show you how to meal plan for an organized life. So to help you do that, I created this, let's get it in camera, this guide. It's available on my website. I'm going to talk a little bit about it as we go through this webinar because it is full of all of the templates that we're going to talk about today, and it's my full 5-step method written down at your fingertips with all the templates that you're going to need to start doing this in your life. So we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but let's jump into the 5 steps that I use for meal planning. Okay, so here are the 5 steps that I use. Basically, steps 1 through 4, you do a couple of times a year. And then step 5, your weekly meal plan, is what you do every week. So I'm going to walk you through each of these and how, if you do each one of these steps with the action items that I line up or that I line out, you will be meal planning before you know it. All right, so just at a high level, I'm going to teach you how to get organized. We're going to create a recipe list. This is going to help with that decision fatigue, with the I never know what to cook. We're going to do recipe categories. Then I'm going to show you how to set up a meal plan calendar. And then I'm going to show you how to use my weekly meal planning template. So essentially, these 5 steps is going to make you a pro. So the first step is that you need to get organized. You need to get organized in your kitchen. You need to get your pantry, your freezer or freezers organized. You need to get your fridge organized. So start with your pantry. Get rid of anything that's expired. That's not healthy for anyone. Anything that is not expired and is not opened should be donated to your local food bank for somebody who may use it. If you bought the cans of beans 10 for $10 or whatever the deal was and no one in your family eats beans, it's probably time to get rid of them. I want you to hit up your local dollar store for bins, and you're going to start learning how to categorize things into zones. So what I mean by zones is I want you to start putting your like items together. So in the top corner, you can see my stand-up freezer in my garage has a bunch of bins. Each bin has a different protein type in it. And maybe that's not relevant. Maybe you're vegetarians. I don't know. Everyone lives their life a little bit different. But the idea is to group like things together. So you'll know when you're running out of an item and you know where everything is. I use the same strategy in my pantry, which you can see in the bottom left of your screen. So I've got my my epicure spices, I've got my nuts and some baking stuff, my oils and vinegars are all together. You want to essentially do this through your whole pantry. And so in my full guide, I walk you through exactly what my pantry looks like and what groupings that I use. But essentially that's my method. I think everybody needs to invest in these lazy Susans that you see in my pantry. It makes it so much easier to see everything instead of trying to always dig through to the back of your pantry. I get them at Bed Bath & Beyond. The The thing that's holding the mason jars, that's a way to create additional storage height within a pantry. If you've got really high drawer or really high shelves and you want to create 2 layers, that's from IKEA. It's actually used in cabinets to put plates, so you can put 2 stacks of plates. So that's where I got that. I know I'm saying this in less than 3 minutes. This is that you need to go do this. It's actually can be quite a lot of work and it can be really overwhelming. So don't try and do all these 5 steps in one day. Don't even try and do your freezer and your pantry in the same day. Like, that's super exhausting. Set aside some time in the future, block a couple of hours, and try and get this done. So the best way to do it is haul everything out of your pantry, start sorting through it, start making groupings, and then start putting everything back in within your zones. So that's how I want you to get organized. Clean out your fridge. The mustard from 3 years ago probably doesn't need to be there anymore. Clean out your pantry, clean out your freezer so you know what you have. And in your freezers, you're going to take an inventory, which I'm going to show you in a bit, but we're not going to talk about that right this second. So let's move on to step number 2 that I use. So I build the list. So this doesn't have to be fancy, just write it on any piece of paper. But this is a list of recipes that you know your family likes, that they're your quick wins, they are the things that you guys love to eat. Ask your family for their input. That way you're not the one that has to do all of this and you can get input from everybody else. Add a few things you've never made if one of your goals is to start being a little bit more creative and trying new things in the kitchen, but don't make a list of 50 new things you've never tried. That's super overwhelming, and continually trying new recipes is exhausting. Trust me, I do it for a job. You want to stick to things that you guys know you'll eat. If you sit down and you look at the blank piece of paper and you just go, I don't know what to put on this list, just start thinking about what did you guys have for dinner the last month? And if you still are having a hard time, just for the next month, write down every dinner you guys do eat, and then you'll have more of an idea of what your family knows and loves. Each season, try and do this because your food tastes change. So right now in the fall, I am stocking up my list with a lot of soups and stews and pasta and just that warm comfort food. But come the spring, I'll be swapping it for more grilling recipes, more cooking outside because it gets so hot, salads, that kind of thing. So make sure you do this every season. And it's good to retouch up your pantry and make sure that's all still good to go too. Don't make your list 300 recipes long. The whole idea is to have a short list of things that you know you love, and it makes decision making a lot easier when you're building a meal plan. Don't make it 300 items long. Talked about don't make a list of things you've never made. And just engage everybody in the family. Make it a game somehow. Look through cookbooks to get inspired. There's lots of different ways. Join the Meal Plan Addict community where I post all the new recipes I come up with and everybody shares their favorites. It's a really great community. So you've now gotten organized. Now you have this master list of recipes that you know your family loves. Now what do you do with it? Now I want you to create some categories, and what these categories look like is different for everyone. So for me, this is what mine looks like. We're chicken, beef, fish, pork, casserole, soup people right now in this time of year. So what I do is I create a category for each, there's a category for each kind of big bucket of food types that we like. And then I write down the recipes that I know we like. I know we like Hawaiian chicken. I know we love mango mojito chicken. I know we love dill pickle chicken because I had to test them about 7 times each before they end up on the blog. I think basically every recipe I've listed here is on my blog. So those are easy to find if any of those jump out at you and you want to give them a try. But those don't have to be your categories. So maybe you want to have a whole Meatless Monday section. Maybe you want a whole pasta section. Maybe you love your slow cooker, so you want to list down all your slow cooker. Maybe you like stir fries and you have lots of different stir fries in your repertoire. Just create this in a way that makes sense for you and for your family. And once you have this, we can move to the next step. So quick recap again. I want you to clean out your kitchen spaces. I want you to clean out your freezer. I want you to clean out your fridge. I want you to clean out your pantry, and then I want you to create your list of recipes. I want you to categorize them like this. And this is also really helpful because once you know what's in your freezer, so remember back in my freezer, you could see I had like a whole bin of pork tenderloin, I had a whole bin of ground beef. So now when I'm doing my meal plan, I can just look in my freezer and go, okay, I'm going to pull a beef, a chicken, and a fish recipe this week. I go right to my list and I go, okay, I have most of the ingredients for Kung Pao beef. I have the Moroccan tenderloin ingredients, and I have the cedar plank salmon ingredients. So I've now just easily put 3 dinners on my meal plan with ingredients that I already have in the house, and I'm using up what's already in my freezer. Had I not cleaned it out, had I not known what was in it, I probably would have wasted a whole bunch of time figuring out what to make for dinner. I would have rebought everything. And so now I'm going to have 3 containers of cinnamon in my pantry. I'm going to have way more beef than I will go through because every time I go to the store, I'm going to buy it. So this is also a way that you're going to save money with meal planning. You're not going to overbuy. You're only going to get what you need. And most importantly, you're going to have a plan to use it and go through it all. So you can kind of take it one next step further with a dinner theme calendar. And there's a couple options. So option 1, you can build a recurring plan that cycles each week. So have a look at what I have for an example. Your family could do meatless Mondays, Taco Tuesday, pasta Wednesday, beef Thursday, takeout fake out Friday, pork Saturday, casserole Sunday, as an example. And now you have all of your recipes in those categories. So each week when you go to plan, it's simply just pulling a recipe out of each of those categories. And you know, if you have 10 recipes in each category, like that's 70 recipes. Like it adds up pretty easy, and then it takes all that decision fatigue away. Option 2, you can build a month out of categories. So if you don't want to repeat the same recurring plan each week, maybe you want to do meatless Monday twice a month. Just get out a calendar, like a printout, like on freecalendar.com or whatever. Print out a blank monthly calendar and pop in, okay, 2 meatless Mondays, and then the other Monday I want to do chicken and a casserole. Taco Tuesdays, tacos are awesome. So many Mexican ideas. So, you know, Taco Tuesday every Tuesday of the month. You know, you can do 2 pasta Wednesdays and 2 beef Wednesdays. You see what I mean? So you can really build out a calendar of categories, and then each week when you sit down on Sunday and you do your meal planning, you look at the week ahead, you look at your category list, and your meal plan is done in, you know, less than 10 minutes. So that's an option. Or option 3, which is the world that I now live in, now that I've kind of perfected this way of life, is I just have a master list of things that I know we like, and I know what's in my freezer, and I just put 2 and 2 together. I look at what's in the freezer, what's on my master plan, and go from there. So that's a nice, quick, easy option for you too. So now you need to make a weekly plan. So remember what I said. So this is step 5. Steps 1 through 4, you don't do every week because that's crazy. You do it either seasonally, quarterly, once every 6 months, whatever makes sense for your family. So really this step 5 is the only thing you're doing every week. And now that you have all those other systems in place, it's going to make this step that much easier. So you're going to sit down on Sunday, you're going to have your freezer inventory, you're going to have your category lists, and you're going to look at this meal plan template and dive in. All right, so let's talk about step 1. Oh, so this template too is obviously part of my guidebook too. So all the templates that I've talked about, and even some I haven't shown you in this webinar are in this book. So we'll talk about that again later. So first, step 1, pick what's for dinner. When you're doing this, also kind of keep in mind and overlay your family schedule. So if you have a kid's hockey practice Tuesday at 5 or 5:30, that's going to make for a really rushed dinner. Make sure that on Tuesday you plan for a crock pot meal that you started in the morning so that when you come through the door it's done, or an Instant Pot dinner that can be ready in less than 20 minutes. Or maybe on Thursday, one of you has a meeting with a client and isn't going to be home for dinner, so then you can scale back the size of the dinner. Just really think what's going on in your week and base your plan on that. Another key thing that I do is I put the food that will go bad sooner at the top of the list. So if I buy fresh fish, for example, I'm always eating it on Monday or Tuesday. I'm definitely not leaving fish that's not frozen until Thursday. So you gotta kind of think about some of those things. But again, if you've set up that recurring meatless Monday, taco Tuesday, it becomes a lot easier to fill in your plan. So as you're getting started learning how to meal plan, maybe don't do breakfast and lunch and snacks if that's really overwhelming, or pick the meal of the day that's your biggest pain point. So, you know, for me, my biggest pain point was breakfast and lunch, to be honest. So I was going through the Starbucks drive-through constantly. I was working downtown in a corporate job where there was lots of restaurants, and so I was eating out constantly. So I really needed to focus on breakfast and lunch, and I kind of ignored dinner first if it's too overwhelming. I also find most people's preference, again, it could change for you, is dinner. I like to have something different every day. I will throw in a leftover day or like a clean out the fridge day near the end of the week. For the most part, we try and eat a different meal every dinner. I don't feel the same way about breakfast and lunch. I can eat the same breakfast. Actually, for months I've learned. And same with lunch. Lunch, you know, 2 days, I can do a lunch for 2 days and then a lunch for another 2 days, and that's fine. Yeah, so that's step 2. So my recommendation is start with your pain point. Where's your biggest struggle? So step 3 is where I look at my list, I look at what I have in the freezer, and I just write, you know, I need to pull out ground beef, I need to pull out a pound of chicken breast, I need to pull out a pork tenderloin, because the worst thing ever is having a plan, going grocery shopping, you have everything in the fridge, you walk through the door, and your meat is still frozen. It's really the worst. So there's a couple ways around that if you have an Instant Pot, but that is a whole nother discussion for another day that I won't even get into. So I pull the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday things out of the freezer that I need. This also allows that if, let's say, whatever I had planned on Wednesday, let's say it's pork tenderloin, something comes up on Wednesday, we decide to do something else, I just move it to Thursday, and it doesn't mean I have to shift all our meals. One of the meals just stays in the freezer for the rest of the week. It reduces food waste. So that's how I manage that. I definitely have forgotten near the end of the week to pull stuff out, but again, that's a whole discussion for another class. So step 4 is creating a prep plan on Sunday. So meal planning and meal prepping go together, but they're quite different. So you can meal plan without doing any prep, and it still makes you a very organized person. And there are weeks where I don't have time to do any prep, and I just do this plan part. I'm going to leave the prep piece out of this discussion today, because I think that's a whole nother class. So how I go from this piece of paper template to the fridge you see on the left-hand side there, that's a whole nother class. And if that's something you guys are interested in, I'm happy to put together another guide for how to do that. I'm happy to put together another webinar. But what I need you to do is either come into the Meal Plan Addict Facebook community and tell me, or send me an email at steph@mealplanaddict.com, leave a blog comment, find me on Instagram. There's lots of ways to get a hold of me. So let me know if that's something you guys want, and if there's demand, it's obviously something I'm happy to do. So anyway, I'm just going to touch on it briefly. If you decide to go down the prep path, you would look at your meals and go, what can I do today to make my life easier on Wednesday? So usually that just means washing and chopping all the components of the recipes, putting them in containers so they're ready to go. So when you come home, all you're doing is assembling your recipes. And it's really interesting what happened at my house when we started doing this is my husband ended up getting a lot more engaged in weeknight cooking, because if he got home first and the plan is up, he could easily see, oh, we're having Moroccan pork tenderloin tonight. He could see the tenderloin in the marinade, and it would just be a quick phone call to me to say, hey, how do I cook this? And it's throw it in the oven or the air fryer or the Instant Pot or whatever. And what started to happen is I would come home to dinner cooked. So that was revolutionary for us. So anyways, let's move on. Step 5 of building your weekly meal plan is to now create your grocery list. So you can see that my grocery list is in zones. So I clearly love organizing things into zones. I guess that's just the way my brain works. I also do it this way because it makes you very efficient in the grocery store. It makes you only go to one area one time, and you're not going all over the grocery store. Also, because I'm a fan of trying to get my family to eat as many vegetables as I can, you'll see the produce section is the biggest, and the other stuff is the smallest, because that's just my philosophy, that should be the biggest part of your grocery list, and the other stuff should be the smallest part of your grocery list. And then I take off to the grocery store. Sometimes I'll take a picture of it. That's easier. Sometimes I'll just fold it and I'll take it to the grocery store with me. But that is systematically what I do each week. The first time you do it, it's like using a new muscle. It might be a little bit painful. It might seem like a lot of work, but now I can do this in 10 minutes, no problem. Whip out a meal plan and get shopping. Pro tip, do this on Saturday and order your groceries online for either pickup or delivery. Your life will be so much better. So now I do this on Saturday. I put my grocery order in and my groceries appear at my door magically around 9 a.m. on Sunday. So I can get my prep done and have my fridge looking like that by 10 a.m. and have the rest of the day to do what I want, and my week is set up. So just to recap, here are the 5 steps that we talked about today. We're going to get organized. We're going to clean out our pantry, clean out our fridge, clean out our freezers, create an inventory list so that we know what we have. We're going to create a recipe list. We're going to engage our families. We're not the only ones that are going to be responsible for figuring out what all these humans in our house need to eat. We're going to categorize the recipes, potentially make a calendar with our recurring plan or monthly plan, or we might just wing it off of our, not wing it, but wing it off of our master plan or our master list. And then each week we are going to meal plan. And there's 5 steps and we went through them. You can watch this on replay if I'm talking too fast. You can ask me any questions you want in the Meal Plan Addict community or on Instagram or wherever you can find me. And just for you guys, I am offering my guide, which is designed to be an ebook, so you don't need to print it. And it's nice to have the electronic version because there are templates like here, like the weekly plan, that you're going to want to print or have every week, or laminate it and write on it and then erase it each week. That might be an option for you. But what I did is I just went to my local office supply store, which is Staples where I'm at, and I just had it printed and bound. But it's totally up to you how you want to manage that. Either way, it's 40% off. And when you go to my website, the prices are currently in Canadian. So just by being American, you get 30% off that. So this book is essentially free for you. So I will have a link sent to you, and I will have a link put on the screen here so that you can grab it. So that's it. That's all. I promised 30 minutes, and here I am at 25 minutes. So I hope this was really informative for you. I hope I didn't talk too fast. If you have questions, you can find me in all these places. I'm most active on Instagram and in my Facebook community. I hope you grab my ebook and come in the community and share your questions, share your meal plans, share any struggles you're having, and I can help you out there. And that's it for now. So hopefully I see you in some of my future webinars on freezer meals and weekly meal prep, maybe Instant Pot meal prep, not quite sure what I'll do. But the more you guys tell me you want and tell me what you want, it makes it a lot easier for me to create the content for you. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here.